You join me today on the side of the A35 with a Audi Q3. Very similar to the Audi Q4, except it's not a milk float. It's very similar in not very other ways too. For a start, it's 15 grand cheaper. Next, it's 700 kilos lighter. Put that into context, that's 6 of me. Well, 5.5 maybe. So take 5.5 of me and throw it out of a car and see if it makes a difference. I think you'll all agree it will. Oh, I'm not meant to be smoking on video, am I? Sorry, let everybody down there. It's alright. It's certainly better than the e-tron in practically every way. Let's go inside. Because inside, it looks like a proper car. They haven't filled it with boring angles to make it look futuristic, like it's some car out of Buck Rogers. Same with the wheels actually. Look at that, look. It's a proper wheel. It's not got blades on it or anything to make it look futuristic. Like, oh, I'm driving something from the future. Future my arse. Quite nice. I like it. Seats are nice. Drives nice. Display's nice. Does everything you want it to do. So why can't they make the Audi Q4 like it? Now inside driving it, it drives really well. It drives like you'd expect an Audi to. Not an Audi milk float. It drives like an Audi car. Petrol 1.4 TFSI engine. It ain't the greatest engine in the world. It ain't setting any worlds on fire. You ain't winning any races in it. You're not winning any world rally stages in it. Especially not with 100.
In 1 mile, at the roundabout, take the second exit to merge onto the A35 towards Poole.
But it is a perfectly workable engine in a perfectly workable car. And let's face it, if you wanted to set the world on fire, you'd be buying an SQ3, not a Q3, and getting yourself a lot more power and a lot more suspension. So it is what it is, but it does 521 miles on a full tank, and I think the Q4 is roughly a third of that. Well, I don't think, I know it's a third of that, as you can see in my previous videos. So it already does, for 15 grand less than the Q4, you can now do 3 times the distance. And it does about 50 odd to the gallon. So
at the roundabout, take the second exit to merge onto the A35 towards Poole.
I don't know if you can hear my sat-nav going off. I'm hoping that the video blocks it out. But if you hear it, then you know I'm on the A35 going towards Poole. Because that's where I'm going. Poole.
In 2.5 miles, continue onto the A350.
There you go, I got 2.5 miles before it yips up again. But the main thing inside here is that it looks, feels, drives, and everything is just like a normal car. It's got fully electric seats, something you don't get in the Q4 because they can't afford to use the battery up. So the little luxuries, obviously I've got full aircon, which I've got on because I can, and it's not affecting me. And
in 2 miles, continue onto the A350.
Sat nav. I don't even know why I've got it on. I know where I'm going, but I plugged it in earlier on for some reason just to see how far I had to go, and now it's still stuck there in the background. So the comparison between the petrol and the milk float is simple. It's 15 grand cheaper, it's 700 kilos lighter, it does 3 times the distance on a full tank, and it's better to look at inside and outside in every possible way, and it drives better. So the Q4 literally has no redeeming features whatsoever, and that's not just me hating milk floats, which I do. That's me being honest about what it's like to be inside the car. And when you're inside this, it's all right. And when you're inside the Q4, you're surrounded by all that light grey plastic and angles and pointy things and stupid features that have no place in modern society. But because the chief designer of all milk floats is 6 years old and has just watched a series of Buck Rogers on catch up, that's what they design. what does car look like in future, Daddy? I think it looked like this. So, because obviously he was slightly Eastern European then, I don't know where that came from. But then again, I suppose Germany, could have come over the border from Poland, get his own back. And I just don't
Use the right 2 lanes to continue onto the A350.
Are deliberately making electric cars look shit and continuing to make petrol and diesel cars look...
Continue.
Here's an example. The E-Type Jag.
In 1 mile, at the roundabout, take the second exit onto the A3049 towards Bournemouth.
And there was no sat-nav in the bloody E-Type either. It's one of the sexiest cars ever made. It still is one of the sexiest cars ever made. Name me one milk float that's a sexy car. There are no sexy milk floats. There's plenty of sexy petrol cars. There's a few sexy diesel cars. But there is no sexy milk float. Because they don't want people to get aroused by driving. They don't want...
At the roundabout, take the second exit onto the A3049 towards Bournemouth.
They want people to just drive like robots. I must get from A to B and save the planet while I'm doing it. And A to B cannot be more than 15 minutes outside of my zone. Otherwise, I'll get in trouble and I'll lose my Chinese credit score, etc., etc. It's just madness. It's all just madness.
In 1.5 miles, keep right onto the A3049.
I will keep right, thank you. It's just getting worse. And people can't see it. And I don't get how people can't see it. If they're deliberately designing cars to take the fun out of everything, and to stop you moving about, and to make you take longer to get there, and to make driving a chore and an inconvenience, and all that stuff, and it's still going on, and it's still happening, and people still can't see it. That's the bit I find weird. But I suppose...
In 1 mile, keep right onto the A3049.
Because it's the same people that watch BBC News religiously every night, or watch Sky News or ITV News, and get their information from the great national broadcasters that only preach the truth. And as long as they keep feeding them lines, they'll keep taking it. And as long as they keep taking it, they'll keep taking the piss. So, see, I don't want to say wakey because it's just... I've got in so much trouble for saying wakey during 2020.
Use the right lane to keep right onto the A3049.
And they all just went like lemons off a cliff. And now they're doing exactly the same thing with milk floats. Like lemons off a cliff. Luckily, it appears that there's less lemons about than there was before. Probably due to COVID. So that might be...
Keep right, then at the roundabout, take the second exit. At the roundabout, take the second exit onto Old Wareham Road.
There you go. At the roundabout, I'm nearly there. I'm nearly at my destination. Which means I need to bid you good day, good people.
In half a mile, arrive at 60 Old Wareham Road.
Tomorrow in a van, I expect. Because it seems to be van week this week. And luckily, all diesel vans. It's either a Mercedes Sprinter. I think it is a Mercedes Sprinter tomorrow. Something to look forward to, innit? At least it's not a VOE. As a fat man once said, future my arse.